Now, I bought this carry-all frame several years ago, but I've never really used it. In fact, it's been sitting out in the pasture for a while, and I just never could figure out really what the best thing to do with it. So, with a little bit of research, I have found out what to do with it. I'm gonna build a platform on it and make it where I can carry stuff around on the back of my tractor. Now, I look at the design of this, and you can very easily build this thing on your own, this carry-all. It's just pretty simple. Looks to be like 3x3 angle iron welded together with some spots for your 3-point attachment. So I am going to use some wood I bought from the lumberyard and make a platform on this. So the wood I'll use for this project is 2x6 treated lumber. I wanted to go with 2-inch lumber just to give it some thickness and some heft to the carry-all, to the platform I'm going to build. Secondly, the 6-inch lumber, I think by the way the hole pattern works on that, that's going to be the best lumber to use. I'm just going to bolt it through this frame, and that'll give me a nice little platform on which to carry things like wood I cut down, or carry a chainsaw into the field, or just really tote anything around, fencing materials, anything I need. So the lumber I bought is 10 feet long, and so I'm just going to go through here, mark it at 10 feet on one end, flip it around. Now if you measure most lumber, you'll find out that even though you buy it in 10 feet, it's 10 feet plus a little bit more, like half an inch in this case. So I'm going to run the tape measure from one side, measure 5 feet, run it from the other side, measure 5 feet. That way I don't have to just move the lumber around a lot. I can make one cut, move it to the next spot, make the other cut, and then I'm ready to move on. So I'm going to cut a few of these boards and then start fitting them to the frame behind me. So I ended up cutting 4 boards, and then I've just got them roughed on the frame right now, but they all lay out pretty nice on the bolt holes. My only problem is here on the end, and after looking at it like it is and thinking about it, I don't want to cut 2 boards to put on there because the 2x6s won't come out right. So I'm going to go to the lumberyard later on and get a 2x12 treated, and just lay a 2x12 on both the end on the bottom as well as the top here, and that'll just round out a little better, bolt on there better, and be a little more secure, I think. And so now my next step is just to get these boards centered where they need to be, start drilling out the holes for the bolts, and then get everything bolted in place, and then that'll lead me to my next step of finishing out with the 2x12s. And then after that, I'll start thinking about putting on some wings on the side of it. Now what I've done next is I've actually flipped this whole assembly over on its back, and I'm going to attach the floorboards down first. And the reason I thought I'd do it this way is the gravity will kind of help hold it down. The first thing I did was get this top board centered, and then you can see here I clamped it in place. And the reason why I did it that way is once I get this first board set in, then again, gravity's holding everything else in. I can just line the rest of the boards up with this bottom board and then roll from there. And I think it'll work out pretty well from there. So I'm going to drill it out. These are 1/2-inch holes in the bottom of this frame. So I've got a 1/2-inch drill bit. I'm just going to drill holes through. And then to bolt everything in, I've got these 2.5-inch carriage bolts. And these carriage bolts will be nice because they'll be good and smooth on top, and then that way they won't be obtrusive for the platform. But once I get everything drilled out with this drill, and then put the carriage bolts through, use a lock washer and just a standard nut to cinch everything down, and I'll have the platform done and be ready to move to the next step. So that does it for the second door on this carryall. I've already built the first door. I got the platform put together. I've got it trimmed on the outside, and I've got one door hung just to try it out. Went ahead and built the second door. The first door I really tried out just as proof of concept, and it's gonna work fine. So my next step is just to get this door, the hinges put on it, it hung on there, and then I've got a couple of extra surprises I'm gonna show you once the doors get hung. So as you can see on this carryall, I've got one door already on it. Platform's done. Ended up putting 2x12s on the top and the bottom just to kind of extend the whole platform just a little bit. This thing's actually getting a little bit heavy, but it's going to work out fine. My 3-point pickup will pick up heavier weights than my front end loader will, so this is made for the 3-point, but this will work out fine. If you notice here, I've got these doors that I don't have the latches on yet, but once these doors will swing out of place, if I need to carry something really wide like some lumber or some big T-posts, I can throw them on back, just swing the doors. But if I need more of a storage like a bed of a truck, I can swing both gates out. I don't have the latches yet. The hardware store is out of latches today, but I can put latches on the side of this, and that way it'll hold the doors open. And then one last thing I'll do to finish this off is I'll put a little bit of a tailgate on it that will keep stuff from sliding off the back, and then I can throw the tailgate on top. The tailgate's just going to be made of lumber. I can throw the tailgate on top across the two doors just to make me a work platform if I need it. Other than that, pretty simple construction. You can see I added a couple of skids at the bottom here. All these skids do is just to kind of dress up the ends where you can't see those cut ends all the time. Really, there's no function at all or no structural function. And then I even dressed up the edges on the side here. So when I'm done with the platform, I'm gonna add some tool carriers to the back of this. And that's a pretty cool setup as well. So I'll get the other door hung, hang the tool platform, or hang the tool carriers, and this thing will be almost ready to go. Once I got the other door put on, I then added some tool carriers to the back, and you can see that these tool carriers are great for putting shovels or any kind of other handled tool that you may carry around with you. And then I even added one more addition to this, and that's a tailgate. And that way you can carry items securely across the pasture, whether it's rolls of fencing or firewood or anything else. The tailgate on the carryall can also sit on top and make a makeshift workbench if you need to.